Gastric bypass surgery reduces the size of the stomach by 90%. Doctors separate the stomach into two parts, and the upper part forms a pouch the size of an egg. Food bypasses the lower part of the stomach and part of the small intestine.
Hi, Brad.
Brad met strict guidelines to qualify for the procedure.
Your pulse rate's good. It's in the 80s.
It's major surgery, which has potential complications.
What kind of grub's coming, you know?
Gastric bypass patients must also make permanent lifestyle changes. Brad can't have sugar or drink alcohol. And because he has permanently reduced the size of his stomach, he must eat very small portions at each meal.
We have napkins anyway.
The surgery worked for Brad. Within a year, he'd lost 130 pounds, just 15 pounds shy of his goal. But instead of finally feeling good about himself, Brad felt disappointed. His rapid weight loss left him with an embarrassing but common side effect: handfuls of sagging skin. After years of obesity, his skin had stretched too far for too long, and it will not shrink back on its own.
I thought that after I lost all the weight that, life would be, a lot different than what it was.
Frustrated and desperate again, Brad searched for a solution to transform his body into a more attractive shape.
It's really hard when you achieved dramatic weight loss that I have, but look in the mirror and that's all you still see fat. I've lost 130 pounds, but I still see fat. Or I still see, my stomach's not flat. Come on. It was just that excess skin. It made me look a lot bigger than what I was, but it horrified me.
It scared him to think that he might never get rid of this skin. Dr. Richard O'Donnell is a plastic and reconstructive surgeon in Denver, Colorado. He has treated several patients with excess skin.
For people who have this, their clothes don't fit right. In the summertime, the skin folds become infected and uncomfortable. And you've gone and lost a substantial amount of weight, but you haven't really, in a lot of ways, changed your appearance substantially. In other words, the skin volume is still there. It's just softer and squishier, but your silhouette is essentially the same.
Most gastric bypass patients face this condition. Years of obesity stretch their skin, and rapid weight loss leaves them with this uncomfortable side effect. When Brad was heavy, he looked forward to the day he could wear more fashionable clothes.
Just lose the chunky monkey here, I think would look fine.
But even 130 pounds lighter,
I think the collar would be too big.
clothes still don't quite fit his body.
It's a challenge when your bottom half is normal and your top half isn't.
Don't touch it quite so much.
When Brad was obese, he had a hard time finding salespeople willing to help him.
Your eye color.
This would be something I would eventually hope to have the opportunity to wear.
Brad decided to hold off on buying a new wardrobe until he could get rid of the excess flesh. As uncomfortable as he felt in his clothes, he felt even worse in his own skin.
I hate to be without my shirt. I hate to have my shirt off. The relationship that I've been in my 20s now, even when I'm touched without my shirt off touched, on my upper body.
Brad, I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you.
It's always uncomfortable. I'm always real jumpy and real nervous about that.
Why don't you go ahead and start face down?
Because how can you touch something that I hate so much or I hate so badly?
Brad was uneasy about people touching his stomach. Even a relaxing massage made him tense and uncomfortable.
I'm not used to the touching of the body. I'm not used to having people touch me in any aspect, whether it be, massage or even intimate or intimacy or anything like that.
Brad became desperate to lose the flabby skin. So he began to intensify his exercise routine.
Nice. Tell you.
Just 3 months after his surgery, he reconnected with his high school friend, Lana.
Yeah, flex it. Flex at the top. There you go.
And they began a weightlifting regimen to try and fill out his sagging skin with muscle.
Flex it. Go through it. Go through it. You can do it. A couple more. Flex it. When we first started working out, he had never worked out before. It was really a beginner program. I've been doing this for a long time, and so at first it was frustrating because I wanted him to progress. Drop and give me 10. And when we first met, he couldn't do push-ups, and now 10's not enough. Nice.
She put a little faith in me, which is, nobody's really, up until that point, nobody's really ever put that much faith in me.
But despite all of their hard work together, the loose skin did not disappear.
I love to be able to really show my muscles or display my hard work that Lana and I do because there's so much skin there. I would have to bulk up so much muscle, which probably isn't going to happen based on the amount of room that's in there.
While it's possible for some people to tighten their stomach muscles through exercise, that option did not exist for Brad. No amount of sit-ups or any other exercise could reduce the skin around his waist.
You actually have got about 6 feet of incision.
Brad turned to Dr. O'Donnell to discuss his options.
At the moment, the only alternative for excess skin is to go ahead and surgically excise it. There aren't any medical treatments which shrink it up. Exercise doesn't change it. As a matter of fact, substantial exercise and getting yourself in substantial good shape actually can make it worse because you continue to decrease the volume of your fat cells and the skin essentially remains the same.
Dr. O'Donnell recommended a mid-body lift, a dramatic procedure that removes loose skin.
If you can envision a person standing here, you take out probably, depending on the size of the person, a 4 to 10-inch strip of skin and fat, clear down to the muscle itself, out all the way around. And then you take the lower skin and fat and you release some of the places where it's fixed, and then you take that and pull it up and you suture it in place in several locations. Then you go ahead and lift this whole thing up here.
Brad decided to undergo a second major surgery to transform his body. His friends supported his decision, but they also had their doubts.
I was happy for him, but still I was afraid for him. And I think my biggest fear is that he would have the surgery and still not be happy with the end result.
Only the mid-body lift could remove the loose skin that made Brad so self-conscious.
I just dreamed to be under 200 pounds. I look in the mirror and I still just focus on this extra skin. When you finally achieve a dream and the dream is nothing like what you anticipated, what a letdown.
Hi, Leslie. Brad.
Brad desperately hoped this reconstructive procedure would give him the body he wanted.
The head's going on the door.
But would the final operation be enough for Brad to finally accept himself? Brad's sister Brenda wasn't so sure.
He just needs to say, "Don't I look good?" He needs to say that to himself because he doesn't think that he looks good. It kills me. I could cry.
The mid-body lift is a long and complicated procedure. Brad was under a general anesthetic for nearly 8 hours. Working in sections, Dr. O'Donnell cut away a ribbon of skin about 7 inches wide from Brad's entire midsection, all the way down to the muscle. Then he stretched the skin tightly back together, creating a new waistline. Brad had high expectations for the results.
When my first initial visit with Dr. O'Donnell, I did, I'm like, how close to an underwear model can I look? And what male in their 20s doesn't want to look like an underwear model? Doesn't want to have the nice abs?
We can get rid of localized fat deposits and unsightly bulges and things like that, but we can't make her cut.
Most of us accept that we may never have the body of a model, but Brad has lived with the other extreme, and now he wants a body that others will notice.
He wants to be the muscular, what I would consider like a meathead, but he wants to be like the muscular, big, strong guy, and I think until he obtains something in that realm, he's not going to really be happy with himself.
No surgery can create a perfect body, but Brad understood that the mid-body lift would provide the best foundation.
I guess what I'm saying is I know that it's still going to take work afterwards. It's still going to take a lot of work afterwards.
Who's that?